What people should know about Rick is that he is not just a franchise coach. He is also a sort of a life coach, right? And I really enjoyed the conversations with him a lot, not just around franchising and business, but in general. And this helped me a lot, right? This helped me a lot to build confidence that I'm working with the right person. It helped me a lot to build confidence around myself in this journey, right? To figure out who I am, what's important to me, and am I doing the right thing here, right? So I really greatly enjoyed working with him. My background is in technology, right? Mostly in software development. I managed software development teams for about 15 years or so, mostly in startup environments. And after doing this for quite a while, right, it was time for me to do something new, right? I needed a career change. I was starting to look into franchising. This happened more or less by accident, but the more I learned about this, the more I understood that this is maybe for me the path forward. Right. So business ownership has always been interesting to me, but I have always considered this like I'm not sure that this is the right move for me. Right. And once I learned more about franchising and how franchising works, right? So this opened up possibilities. Well, I thought, yeah, this could be an actual, career path for me. I worked with I worked with two franchise coaches before I worked with Rick. And those they were solid, right? They knew their stuff, right? They were good. And but they were not coaches, they were matchmakers, right? So their approach from the beginning was, find the right company for me. And where I was in my journey, I wasn't there yet, right? There was a lot of things that I didn't understand. I had so many questions, right? And this was moving way too fast for me. So I needed a reset, right? So I essentially ended working with those two coaches, ended up reading Rick's book, The Educated Franchisee, and that provided a lot of the structure that I was looking for, right? That provided a lot of background, the way for me to think about this. Right? And then eventually I ended up reaching out to Rick, and I had the good fortune that he called me back and we had a conversation. And yeah, and what I realized in the first conversation with Rick is that he has a different approach than everybody else I've met in the franchising world so far. And that was the right fit for me, right? I needed somebody to coach me actively through this process, right? And help me think about who do I who am I? What do I want? Right? And yeah, Rick provided that structure, and that was just a very different approach, from those other two coaches I worked with, and that was just yeah, that was the right fit for me at this time. I think the most valuable part of Rick's approach is the vision exercise, right? That was in my where I was at in my journey. That is exactly what I needed. I needed the time to think through, right, who I am, what I want to do with my career, right? What do I want to do when I grow up, right? And then yeah, that was a really helpful way for me to think about this and get clarity around like is franchise and business ownership, is that even something that is a good fit for me? And so I was going into this, right? I didn't know that, right? And this part specifically provided a lot of clarity for me, right? Going into this, so and coming out of this at the other end and knowing, yes, it actually is the right fit for me. As far as preparedness is concerned, as far as can you ever be prepared for this? I don't know. But after working with Rick through this process, right, I feel I have all the tools that I need to go into this, right? And feel and be prepared for all of the things that I don't know anything about yet. Right. So I think the structure that Rick provided in the many conversations that we had, right? It puts me in a position that I feel I can deal with those things, right? As a business owner, you always have to deal with stuff, without knowing all of the answers, right? And that's part of business ownership. But Rick's approach really helped me to get prepared for this, right? And yeah, be confident that I can handle it.